I've noticed that I've changed throughout my life so much for the better, constantly, but you just need to embrace it. Like, I love change now, which is why we thrive at Rise. Every week it changes, but that's the environment I've tried to build.
I live and breathe my business.
So I've actually just met Hayden, our new SEO exec. So yeah, I get to meet him for the first time. Went out for drinks with our PR manager yesterday, and we've got some more drinks meeting a few members of the industry as well tonight. But it's just good to kind of like meet the team and get back to normal. Like, that's what I can't wait for. It makes me feel better as well, like meeting the staff. There's like so many people that I haven't met. This is really weird. Like, a lot of people are like, oh my god, like you're Carrie, like I've seen you all over like socials and YouTube, and they finally get to meet me kind of thing, and that's like a bit of a weird scenario.
Right, here he is. Hey, Hayden.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, just met you
first time.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is she everything you expected?
And more, yeah.
So I've just overheard Carrie on a call. We're actually selling some really interesting stuff now to one of our clients, and I think it's something that we should chat about more. So, Carrie, what have you been selling?
So essentially looked into which channels were driving the most organic traffic through to one of our clients, comparing Facebook, Instagram, etc., and Pinterest was on there. Pinterest for them drove not as much traffic. It was one of the least traffic driver. However, when it comes to conversion, it had the highest conversion rate of around 1%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you look into the conversion rates of the other channels. So I have clients that are in the fashion space, but also like others that are on Pinterest that drive, I'm talking 100,000 visits, or if not millions in a year. Through Pinterest as a strategy. So essentially we've created a Pinterest strategy for our client, which looks at creative content, how we repurpose video footage that they spend thousands on, and they're using it on Pinterest to drive traffic to the website, but also get evergreen content out there. Most social channels, you create content, you post it, and then it disappears. Yeah. So obviously it only lives for say 24 hours, maybe even 2 days, something like that on the feed. Whereas when you go on Pinterest, it's a search engine. That's what Pinterest actually is. So people need to use that channel a lot more when it comes to kind of putting content out there, evergreen content, and driving traffic to a website. So yeah, Pinterest is one of the strategies that we're currently working on for a couple of clients, and Giphy as well. Giphy is a tool mostly for impressions. So if you care about the vanity metrics of impressions, so people seeing your brand and seeing your content, Giphy is a really good tool for that, because Giphy's used on everything.
Yeah, huge
Instagram,
brand reach.
WhatsApp, Twitter, you name it, Slack. Like, it's integrated into most.
Millions of views.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we did obviously our own case study for Rise at 7, where we've created,
I think we've got 130 GIFs, around 75 million views.
Yeah, which is crazy, but it ranges everything from video footage, so repurposing our video footage onto Giphy, so me doing things like, do you want a job, or like, yes, we've won, or something like that. Most viewed GIF.
Carrie hates it.
Oh, that one. A lot of our content gets used across stuff like that, and I fucking love it. Yeah, but we also do like create stickers. So for an example, like when you're on holiday and you're like out of office, you can create like out of office stickers and stuff like that people then use on Instagram. But it's just a way to get your brand out there. Yeah. If you look into like even just like fitness or like doing squats and things like that, Gymshark come up every single time. They're constantly getting their brand out there because they create content on Giphy 24/7. We've created our own Giphy tool, which shows us like basically demand for Giphy and like whether it's popular, etc. So we know what sort of GIFs to create, and we've done like Giphy SEO strategies to make sure that we rank #1. So like if you mostly type into the keywords, we rank like #1 for most GIFs.
If you search digital PR on Instagram,
Rise at 7
comes up.
Yeah, or Carrie's face.
Or Carrie, yeah.
Tell me what you're working on.
What am I working on?
Yeah.
Alright, so currently working on some award entries for the Drum Awards PR and Drum Awards for Digital Industries, and also got our whole marketing plan for the 21-22 year. I've done all our budgets already, which Carrie's not seen yet, so I'm actually sending them hopefully the end of this week / next week, but there's a whole roadmap basically of a whole year's activity of how we're going to break into America. So it's really exciting stuff. It's been a bit of a head fuck because you have to plan out 6 months, a year, big picture sort of things. But yeah, it's good. There's lots going on.
This morning we found out that we are voted the most inspirational agency.
Most inspirational agency, yeah.
So there was a survey that went out to 2,000 agencies, and essentially they voted on who is the most inspirational agency of this year, and Rise at 7 came out on top, which is mental, like absolutely incredible. We was up against the likes of Uncommon and a couple of other agencies that I've looked up to for years. So the fact that we beat them, but it's just amazing. Just obviously we've had a heck of a journey over the last couple of years. We obviously have lots coming up on the source. We're actually, me and Ken Wright are going to Chicago next month for the first time. Like, I've never been before. So it's a bit mad that I've decided to open an office there and move over my whole life over there, and I've never even been. You guys are gonna come with me, and I'm gonna take on the journey to go look at office space, go meet some people, and eat lots of pizza.
You achieved everything you wanted to achieve.
What, today?
Yeah.
We've just won a big client over in America. Yeah.
Alright, so we're back in the apartment. Last night in London for this trip anyway. And I'm going to ask some quick fire questions to Carrie Rose. So let you guys know a bit more about Carrie. When you're not working, how do you spend your time?
I listen to music. I love kind of like summer sax music, like real chill. I love to go and have drinks and go to an Italian. Italians is like my favourite restaurants. And I love to go on weekends away. So lodge weekends, or go adventure in Cornwall, or like go see new cities. Like, that's my thing. I'm a traveller.
What was your first ever job?
My first ever job, real random. So you know those like entrepreneur stories of like selling like sweets or whatever at school?
Yeah.
I sold chocolate bars, but my mum basically worked somewhere and she got like big boxes of chocolate bars. And there was 50p each, so I sold them for 50p each. Made 250 quid and I was like 13. So yeah, that was like my first job. But after that, I worked in a pizza shop.
If there was one thing on your bucket list, what would it be?
Travel to the Maldives and stay in one of those, you know, them like hut things on the water.
On the water,
yeah.
Walk out, jump in.
Like, that's one of those like signs of rich wealth.
Yeah, 100%.
And like, it's something that you see on Instagram, or when I was a kid I always dreamed of, and I thought I'd never have out like that.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I actually could. So one day, I feel like that's the moment I feel like I've made it.
Yeah. Who do you admire most?
Yes, I just admire, I really look up to kind of like all the kind of like tech entrepreneurs. Like, I love those sort of stories, those like kind of people in their bedrooms building something up, you know, like, I love listening to that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
It's actually by Ken Wright.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He basically said that when I'm in a room or when I'm in his presence, he just lights everything up. He was the one that first ever said that to me, and I remember feeling like, whoa, you know, like that just hit me.
If there was one moment at Rise 7 that you've loved so far more than anything else,
yeah,
what has it been?
It was the moment that I organised the first big social where I took everybody to this mansion and had a pool and all that sort of stuff. And I always remember the moment where we'd been to Morrison's and we'd got load of alcohol, load of food to fill this place out, and everybody was carrying the bags in. There was like, oh my God, this is mint Carrie, high-fiving me. Thierry took his clothes off and jumped in the pool. Like, people was drunk and dancing on like the tables and all that sort of stuff. Like, everyone's having a good time. And I remember that moment I kind of stood back and just watched and smiled, and I was like, wow, like, this is what I've built, like our culture and the people. And I think that is the most proud moment I felt, even though it was like our time was real small. But I just remember feeling like we were such a tight knit, and we still are to this day. I just can't wait to have that moment again.
If there was one thing you could tell yourself, or anyone who's 16, 18, going into university, last year of the school, what would you tell them? You as a person change constantly. I've noticed that I've changed throughout my life so much, for the better, constantly, just through experience and through meeting people, cultures. Like, you change as a person and you constantly develop. And also like to welcome that and celebrate it, enjoy it. A lot of young people fear change, losing friends, moving home, going to university, but I think you realise like over time, like throughout your life, like how much things change, but you just need to embrace it. Like, I love change now, which is why we thrive at Rise, because every week it changes, but that's the environment I tried to build.